Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, one and only Animation Legends, and yeah guys, today I am back with the next part of what if Naruto was neglected by his family. Reborn refused to give up his chakra to Menma. So yeah guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the previous part of the series. And if you guys have not seen it, please guys check it out. You guys will definitely like it. And yeah guys, before starting this video, I would like to make a request to all of you guys who are watching this video. If you guys are new to the channel, or if you guys have not subscribed yet, please guys do so. It would be very helpful to me as I want to reach 20k subscribers on this channel, and you guys subscribing would be really appreciated. So without any further ado, let us start the video. Last time we left off as we saw that how Naruto has finally decided to take part in the Chunin exam, as after the first part Naruto finally arrived in the forest of death where Naruto got the mission to take care of Orochimaru, as Orochimaru was taken aback after he saw the power of Naruto, while on the other hand Naruto easily entered in the preliminary exam where he had to fight against Mito, as Mito tried her best as she even used the power of three tails and her chakra chains to take down Naruto, but Naruto simply ignored all of her attacks and simply took care of her, while on the other hand Kushina could not believe her eyes, as well as Tsunade, as well as Jiraiya and Minato, as they wanted to train Menma so that Menma can become powerful enough to take care of Naruto. So Kushina, Minato, Jiraiya and Tsunade started the training of Menma, while on the other hand Naruto on the meantime was doing his own training. He has gotten the Sage body, and Naruto believed that the potential of Sage body is not just that, and he believed that he can become stronger and stronger, even one day surpass the stage of the sixth path, while on the other hand Naruto was doing his training and even getting some techniques from the system while Menma has finally concluded his training. And just like that, the day of the tournament finally has arrived, as the first match that Naruto had to fight against, it was none other than Hinata, who told Naruto that he should give up, and she was the princess of the Hyuga clan and Naruto did not have the power to defeat her. But Naruto simply ignored her chattering and finally went into the battle, as Hinata was taken aback at that how powerful Naruto was, as how easily he took care of all of her attack, as Hinata even used her half-baked rotation to destroy Naruto as well as his clone, but Naruto Rasengan was more than powerful enough to send Hinata flying, as Hinata was defeated by Naruto afterward. Menma was furious as he wanted to attack Naruto, but Naruto simply told him that if he really is that powerful, then he should bring this anger to the stage. And just like that, the time finally arrived when it was the semifinals, and it would be Naruto versus Menma. When everyone heard that, they were taken aback at that, and finally it was time for the battle between brothers, as Menma decided to use his Rasengan to attack Naruto and even using the Shadow Clone techniques, but Naruto with his rapid speed as well as the Sunshine technique he has gotten from the system equal to Shisui Uchiha, he was far too fast for Menma, as Sunshine can be considered to be almost equal to the Flying Thunder Guard technique in a small range. Well, except that Flying Thunder Guard is a space-time technique, but other than that, the speed of Sunshine cannot be underestimated, while on the other hand, Menma was furious, but Menma finally gave Naruto an option, as Menma told Naruto that he is not actually most compatible with Menma's chakra. The most compatible was naturally Kushina Uzumaki, but since she was a S-rank shinobi and the wife of Hokage, she simply cannot give her chakra to Menma, and the other person who was most suitable to that of Menma's own chakra was none other than Mito, but she was protected by Kushina, so it came finally to Naruto, who had to make these sacrifices. While Naruto was surprised, but he was not that taken aback. After all, he has long given up on this family, and Naruto believed that these people will never stand with him. And for the so-called offer of Menma, Naruto did not thought too much of it. While on the other hand, Menma was angry as he decided to use all of his power, even activating the three tails, and decided to use all of his power, while Naruto decided to show a bit of his power as well, as Naruto slammed his hand together, and just like that, a wooden dragon appeared, and even wood golem jutsu was also evoked by Naruto, and just like that, Menma's nine-tailed chakra was utterly absorbed by the wood style, and just like that, the battle had ended. So yeah guys, that was the last part of the series. So if you guys have not seen it, please guys check it out. So without any further ado, let us start the story from here. So now, let us start the story from here, as everyone was at awe of the power of the wood style. Even the third Hokage could not believe his eyes. This was the power of the first Hokage, how easily Naruto defeated the Jinchuriki, the so-called child of destiny, the power of the nine tails. It was far too feeble in front of the wood style and looking at the gigantic wood golem jutsu, as everyone was at awe, but suddenly a barrier suddenly appeared surrounding the entirety of the Chunin exam, as everyone was taken aback at that, as Minato quickly noticed that something is off in this barrier. He's unable to use his flying Thunderguard technique, as a while suddenly started to chuckle at that, as Orochimaru of the Sanin finally stepped forward looking towards Minato as well as all the fighters that were trapped inside of this barrier, as everyone was taken aback at that. After all, Minato as well as the third Hokage has just stepped inside of the ring to congratulate Naruto and to question him. And just like that, Orochimaru had taken advantage of the situation to trap Minato, the third Hokage, as well as Naruto and Menma, who were still trapped inside of the stadium, and made a barrier there, as Orochimaru burst into laughter. Well, Naruto-kun, I was hoping to capture you after defeating my sensei and Minato-kun here, but this is a good opportunity. It is time that all of you will be captured by me, Orochimaru of the Sanin. As Orochimaru looked towards Naruto with greedy look in his eyes. Well, Naruto-kun, I wanted Sasuke-kun to be my new vessel, as I believe that the power of the Sharingan cannot be underestimated. But looking at you, you are a perfect vessel, the power of the wood style. I never thought that I would be able to see this power with my own eyes. After all, I had experience with the cells of first Hokage and the wood style created by me. Well, for the lack of better word, it is rather disappointing. As Naruto looked towards Orochimaru, it seemed that the lesson I gave you in the Chunin exam and forest of that was not enough, that you have come here. As Orochimaru smirked at that, as Minato looked towards Orochimaru, that is enough. I may not be able to teleport outside of this barrier, but I can still teleport inside of it, and I will give you only one last opportunity. Surrender and dispel this barrier, and I will consider your relationship with Konoha and will not execute you. As Orochimaru burst into laughter at that. Well, Minato-gun, it seems that you have gotten quite confident over the year. Perhaps you have forgotten the only reason you became the fourth Hokage was that Sensei wanted a puppet ruler, and looking at both of you, it seemed that you have finally fulfilled his wishes. As Minato frowned at that, he never liked hearing that word, the puppet Hokage. How many ambitions he had when he first became Hokage, and how much constraint he had because of the Elder Council and the third Hokage. Only he, Minato Namikaze, knew in his heart. And looking at the sun in Minato finally became angry. He was frustrated with the whole situation. First, Naruto disobeyed his orders and decided not to hand over his chakra to Menma. But after that, they came up with the idea, as long as Naruto knows the cruelty of the world, he will definitely come back and hand over his chakra to Menma, who is obviously more worthy of Naruto chakra than Naruto woke the whole Sage body. On top of that, Naruto has now awoken the power of Hashirama Senju, even if Minato wanted to. Third Hokage and the Elder Council and the authorities in Konoha will never allow Minato to harm Naruto. This is the power of the first Hokage. Even the so-called title of the Yellow Flash is nothing compared to that of Hashirama Senju's power, and Naruto has awoken this power. While Minato has already decided in his heart, after all, he was the Hokage. Naruto is far too important for the village. He cannot hand over his chakra to Menma anymore. Maybe it is time that Mito, as the sister of Menma, decided to take up her responsibilities. All those years ago, Minato knew that it was actually Mito who was more compatible with that of Menma's power, but she was protected by Kushina, and Minato also believed that since Mito is the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, then she should be protected by him. But now it seems that Mito is the only one who can make sacrifices for the good of the shinobi world. While on the other hand, looking towards Orochimaru, you don't believe that you have the power to defeat me and Lord Third here, and even Naruto has the power of Moketan. As Orochimaru smirked at that, well, I do have a surprise for you, Minato-kun. And just like that, Orochimaru snapped his finger, as outside of the barrier, Kabuto gave the signal, and just like that, the shinobi of Sand Village as well as the Sound Village rushes towards the shinobi of Konoha, and just like that, the battle of Konoha collapse plan has begun. And finally the battles has went on, while on the other hand, in the original timeline, Menma was the one who defeated Shikaku and Gaara, and using the power of Ashura, he convinced Gaara to become a good person, but this time Menma was still defeated and unconscious inside of the barrier, so there was no one to stop Gaara, who was still transforming into the One Tail and was ready to rampage in the village, while on the other hand, the shinobi of Konoha were taken aback at the betrayal of their so-called allies, and with Orochimaru in the fray and their high-end power like the third Hokage and fourth Hokage captured by Orochimaru, they were in complicated situation as the battle has already begun. As Naruto finally looked towards Orochimaru as he was ready to take action, as Minato said, "Enough, Orochimaru," and just like that, decided to throw his kunai towards Orochimaru and decided to use his teleportation technique to attack Orochimaru with his Rasengan, but Orochimaru was rather slippery as a snake as he was able to dodge all the attacks of Minato at Tadokage. Simply looked towards Orochimaru. "Orochimaru, you have disappointed me too much. Maybe it is time that I finally completely get rid of you." And just like that, Tadokage was ready to make his move, but Orochimaru clapped his hand together, summoning Jutsu, and just like that, 10 coffins appear from the ground as the coffin lids finally were released, and from the very first coffin came one figure. It was none other than Hashirama Senju. From the second coffin, it was Tobirama. Then from the third one, it came Sakumo Hatake. From the fourth one, it was Don, the boyfriend of Tsunade, and the other powerful shinobi from other villages like the third Raikage, the second Tsuchikage, and so on. As everyone who was watching this battle was taken aback at that, even Naruto raised an eyebrow at that as Orochimaru burst into laughter. "I must thank you, Naruto-kun. Previously, I thought that the power of first and second Hokage would be more than enough to take care of fourth and third Hokage, but it seemed that you finally opened my eyes. I need to be more ready. I believe that this level of power should be more than enough to show my true strength. So, what do you think of these techniques, Sensei? And do not worry, I have even summoned Lord Third at 30% of his power. So, he should be more than enough to take care of any one of you, even you, Naruto-kun. You do not know the horror of the strength of the first Hokage." As Naruto frowned at that, looking at Senju Hashirama, this guy was truly a monster. Even Naruto had to admit that 30% of his power, while Naruto himself possessed Mokitan and other techniques of Mokitan, but Naruto has to admit that his sage body is not developed yet, and he's only at the age of 12, while on the other hand, Hashirama Senju, even at the 30% of his power, is more than powerful enough to take care of any Kage in the shinobi world. As Naruto looked towards Hashirama, this guy was the only threat here, as Hashirama as well as the other Kages and strong shinobi finally opened their eyes as Tobirama started to look around, and then his eyes finally met with that of the third Hokage monkey. "It seemed that you have gotten older," but suddenly Tobirama frowned at that. He felt a similar presence as he looked back to see that one figure was standing behind that of the fourth and third Hokage, and that was none other than Naruto. At this point, Naruto has not dispelled his wood golem jutsu. Even the first Hokage was taken aback at that. "Now look at that, Tobirama. It seemed that my Mokitan has been inherited by the future generation. That is really a good thing." While on the other hand, Tobirama frowned at that as he started to look towards Naruto. This feeling, it seemed that this kid possessed the sage body, but I do not sense the presence of Senju blood inside of him, older brother. As Minato finally stepped forward, "My apologies for this whole situation, Lord First, Lord Second. Let me introduce myself. I am the fourth Hokage, and that is my son. And his mother is from the Uzumaki clan, so there is some relationship to that of the Uzumaki clan." And when both Tobirama and Hashirama heard about it, they thought about it. After all, the Senju and Uzumaki are relatives, so there is a possibility that a member of the Uzumaki clan can also awake the power of the Mokitan. But suddenly Tobirama spoke up. "Well, older brother, it seems that we have been summoned by the enemy and I cannot control my actions. I wanted to dispel, or rather control, this reanimated body, but it seems that the caster is quite cunning." As Tobirama looked towards Orochimaru, who has finally put kunais all over the body of 8 strong shinobi, as Orochimaru appeared behind the second Hokage. "Second Hokage-sama, I must say that I have heard about your legend, but today you're gonna be my tool." And just like that, Tobirama was under the control of Orochimaru. As the first Hokage frowned at that, he wanted to use his strength forcefully take control of the body of first Hokage, but Orochimaru did not give him the opportunity, and just like that, he put the kunai there. But Orochimaru raised an eyebrow at that. It seemed that my technique is not perfect yet, as Hashirama looked towards him. You try to erase my consciousness, but you can control my body and even give me orders, but you cannot suppress my consciousness. You were rather cautious. If you have given me a slightly more power, I could have taken control of this body. Well, my apologies, Kate, but it seemed that I still had to have to follow the orders of the snake. As Orochimaru smirked at that, your mission is to capture Naruto-kun alive. After all, do not harm him too much, since he is the new vessel I have chosen for myself. And just like that, Orochimaru gave the order as the third Hokage summoned his ape and was ready for the battle, and just like that, Minato and the third Hokage had to fight against 8, or rather 9, more powerful shinobi. And the battle has already begun, while on the other hand, Hashirama rushes towards Naruto, wood style, wood dragon jutsu. And just like that, ground shattered as a wood dragon appeared, as Naruto, who had already summoned the wood golem and wood dragon, as Naruto was still standing over the wood golem jutsu as he said, attack. And just like that, the wood dragon of Naruto roared as it rushes towards Hashirama, as both of them met in the center, and just like that, both of them attack each other as Hashirama rushes towards Naruto, as Naruto used the Sunshine technique to move in front of Hashirama as the battle between Hashirama and Naruto has begun. But Hashirama was still Hashirama, as he was easily able to overpower Naruto, but because of Naruto's rapid speed thanks to Sunshine, he was able to dodge most of the attack of Hashirama as Naruto gritted his teeth at that. This was the time that Naruto was feeling that his undeveloped body of only 12-year-old was truly a hindrance. Naruto do not believe that he has less chakra than Hashirama, nor does he believe that Hashirama's wood style is superior to his own. But the most difficulty is that Naruto's body is unable to channel all of his true strength. His true chakra cannot be used because he's only a 12-year-old kid. As Naruto finally gave order, as the wood golem jutsu started to move, as he started to rush towards the dragon of Hashirama, and just like that, the wooden dragon was shattered by the wood golem jutsu. As wood golem jutsu rushes towards Hashirama, trying to capture him, but Hashirama clapped his hand, and just like that, another wood golem and wood dragon appeared, as the wood dragon and wood golem roar and rushes towards Naruto, as Naruto gritted his teeth and started to channel more and more of his chakra, as the battle between two gigantic figures of wood golem and wood dragon was going on, while on the other hand, Minato and the third Hokage were in rather dangerous situation. Tsukumo Hatake was faster than anyone expected. Even Minato was having trouble fighting against Tsukumo, while on the other hand, the second Hokage was also using the flying Thunderguard technique. Needless to say, the fourth and the third Hokage were getting a thorough beating, while on the other hand, Orochimaru had ignored the battle. After all, he believed that his summoning jutsus are more than enough to take care of this whole battlefield, while he was looking towards the magnificent battle between Hashirama and Naruto. As Hashirama clapped his hand, my apologies, kid. It seemed that you will not be able to win this battle, even though you have inherited my power, but your body is quite limiting. As Naruto gritted his teeth at that, you need not tell me that, first Hokage. I know that already. As the wooden vines appear from the ground and rushes towards Naruto's wood golem jutsu, Naruto clapped his hand, and more wooden vines appeared and also rushes towards Hashirama's technique, as both of them seems to be in a stalemate. But Orochimaru knew that Hashirama had infinite chakra, while Naruto's chakra pool is also quite great thanks to his sage body, but he is not a reanimation, and wood style technique require a lot of chakra, and Naruto was already feeling the toll of his chakra. After all, he was now fighting against someone as powerful as Hashirama, while on the other hand Minato was already down for the count, while on the other hand third Hokage was also kneeling on the ground. He had many cuts all over his body, as the second Hokage did quite a number on all of these people in front of in front of 9 cage level shinobi. They were not a match for him, while on the other hand, Orochimaru was smiling. On the outside world, Mito was looking towards the fully transformed one-tailed Shikaku, as she was using the power of 3 tails, but Shikaku was fully transformed, and only the borrowed power of Nine-Tail, even at the level of Three-Tail, can stop the power of Shikaku, as Shikaku has already made up his Bijudama as he released it in the center of Konoha as a huge explosion took place, as everyone was taken aback at that as Orochimaru burst into laughter. Hashirama had a small frown on his face. He was still trying to control this body, but no matter what he did, the 30% of his power was not enough to finally escape from the control of Orochimaru, who has somehow enhanced his technique. While on the other hand, Naruto finally closes his eyes. System, you have to give me something, otherwise I'm gonna lose this battle. As System finally spoke up, emergency mission given, capture one tail worth of 9 tails chakra and you will get complete mastery over all the techniques of the Uzumaki clan. As Naruto opened his eyes at that as he looked towards the unconscious form of Menma as Naruto jumped from the wooden golem technique and rushes towards the direction of Menma. While Orochimaru was confused, he quickly gave orders as the second Hokage teleported in front of Naruto, ready to slash at Naruto. But Naruto moved with even further impressive speed, using the Sunshine technique, completely dodging the second Hokage as Tsukumo Hatake also appeared in front of Naruto with his blade ready to cut down Naruto. But Naruto has more than enough of this whole thing as Naruto released a gigantic explosion of power, a gigantic Fire Dragon was released from his mouth, rushing towards the reanimations as the second Hokage had to use his water style to stop the attack of Naruto, while on the other hand, the first Hokage released his Wood Dragon Jutsu towards Naruto as Naruto, using the opportunity of the smoke, quickly dodged the Wood Dragon Jutsu which was trying to capture Naruto and absorb his chakra, and finally appeared beside Menma, who was still unconscious as Naruto slammed his hand into the seal of Menma as Menma opened his eyes in pure pain and agony, and just like that, the one tail worth of 9 days chakra was absorbed by Naruto. Orochimaru was confused. For a moment, he thought that Naruto is gonna release the 9 tails, but what good the 9 tails will do when Hashirama Senju was still present here, who can use 30% of his power. That is more than enough to take care of a half 9 tails. But Naruto only took one tail worth of 9 tails chakra as Naruto closes his eyes. System, reward. Reward me as Naruto spoke, and just like that, the system spoke up. The mission completed. All the techniques of the Uzumaki clan has been rewarded as Naruto opened his eyes from behind Naruto. Several chains appeared out of nowhere and rushes toward the reanimations of the other Kages. The second Hokage teleported away, but Sakumo, Hatake, and Dan, who was trying to use his technique to attack Naruto, was captured as Naruto quickly brought them in front of him as Naruto's hand started to glow and simply smirked at that. Finally, I realized the weakness of this technique. The reanimation to its very core is a summoning technique. Orochimaru and I know how to dispel it. Contract seal, and just like that, Naruto slammed both of his hands into the gut of Sakumo and Don, and just like that, their bodies dissolved as the contract between Orochimaru and the undead was released by Naruto as their souls finally dispelled, while Orochimaru's eyes widened at that. He never thought that the contract seal can be used like this as Naruto smirked at that as Naruto moved with blinding speeds as he was already in front of the other Kages as he decided to unleash his contract seal and finally dispel the summoning of these powerful shinobi. But Orochimaru, realizing the danger, quickly ordered the second and first Hokage to attack Naruto, while the other powerful shinobis were already taken care of Naruto. But the second Hokage was simply far too fast for Naruto to capture, and the first Hokage was truly a monster. As Naruto saw that the second and first Hokage, it would be difficult to seal them away, as Naruto finally closes his eyes and made a hand sign multiple shadow clone technique, and just like that, hundreds of shadow clones appeared and rushes toward the second and first Hokage. While Orochimaru was confused, after all, Naruto was using the power of the Mokitan earlier, so Orochimaru believed that Naruto will exhaust all of his chakra and it would be easy for him to capture him alive. After all, in the eyes of Orochimaru, Naruto was a perfect vessel that he can use for his own advantage, while on the other hand, Naruto finally closes his eyes as several wooden vines appeared from the ground and started to surround Naruto, while on the other hand, the clones started to attack Orochimaru as well as the second and first Hokage, even summoning gigantic Rasengans to slam into the wooden golem jutsu of first Hokage, while the first Hokage can still contain his consciousness. He was confused. What is going on here? What is that kid doing? Wondering if he's gonna use another wood style technique. But he seemed to have covered himself like a cocoon as the first Hokage was confused. But suddenly he sensed something. Something is going on inside of the cocoon. And finally, several clones appeared in front of the first Hokage, distracting him in the hands of the several clones. They were gigantic Rasengans, while on the other hand, the other clones were using hundreds of techniques of different nature to attack the second as well as Orochimaru. And finally, Orochimaru as well as the first and second Hokage were able to take care of the clones. Well, it can be said that the clones has already exhausted their chakra, but Orochimaru was slippery as a snake, and the body of second Hokage, even though it was destroyed by the clones, after all, the area of teleportation inside of the barrier is limited. So the second Hokage cannot simply run away, so his body was the only one destroyed. But while the first Hokage was distracted, finally the cocoon finally came down, and from the cocoon, one figure started to walk outside. When the first Hokage saw Naruto, he could not believe his eyes. So this was the feeling he had previously, the power of the Sage Mode. On the forehead of Naruto, there was a circular mark, and he also had a black line going under his eyes as Naruto looked towards his hand. This was something he was practicing, even though it is incomplete, as Naruto can feel that this is not the true power of the Sage Mode, but it was simply a half-baked version of Sage Mode that Naruto. This time, this was more of a gamble that this will work. Only because of the power of the wood style that Naruto can use this type of Sage Mode. But Naruto can tell that this time is limited as Naruto moves with blinding speed. Even before the second Hokage can use the flying Thundercut technique, Naruto was upon him, and just like that his body shattered and hundreds of chains appear from the ground, grabbing his body, and Naruto used the contract seal to cancel out his summoning. While Orochimaru was taken aback at that, Naruto slammed his hand together as a wood clone appeared and rushes towards Orochimaru, who was about to intervene, as Naruto himself also attacked the first Hokage, as the first Hokage used his wood golem jutsu to try to grab Naruto, as first Hokage was smiling. That was rather risky there, kid. This type of Sage Mode, I can tell that this is not complete, as Naruto simply nodded at that. This was more of a gamble, first Hokage, but I must say that even though you are only using the power of 30% of your true power, but you truly are a monster, and I need this power to take care of you. And just like that, Naruto clapped his hand together, another wood dragon appeared and rushes towards Hashirama, as Hashirama released his wood dragon. But this time, the difference in power, it was great. After all, Sage Mode is still Sage Mode. And just like that, Hashirama Wood Dragon was utterly destroyed by Naruto's Wood Dragon, as it attacked the Wood Golem Jutsu and started to surround Hashirama, as Naruto was channeling all of his technique, all of his power inside of the Wood Dragon, as the Wood Dragon was becoming bigger and bigger, even destroying the Wood Golem Jutsu of Hashirama, and finally surrounded him. And inside of the grasp of the Wood Dragon, Hashirama was unable to call out his power. In the meantime, Hashirama himself was resisting the control of Orochimaru. All of these factors combined, as Naruto was finally able to grab Hashirama, and just like that, Naruto cancelled out the summoning, as Naruto believed that if given time, Hashirama would be able to destroy the Wood Dragon Jutsu even with Sage Mode. Naruto admitted that Hashirama was truly someone that Naruto cannot compete with. It seemed that he was becoming arrogant after being revived, as Naruto started to think that since he has the power of the first Hokage, the wood style, he has almost become one of the most powerful shinobi on the planet, as Naruto believed that even if fourth Hokage were to turn against him, Naruto still had confidence against him. But this summoning only 30% of the power of first Hokage, this opened Naruto's eyes. It seemed that there were still skies above sky, and Naruto is gonna reach that in the future. As Hashirama, who was finally freed from the reanimation jutsu, looked towards Naruto with a smile on his face. You know, kid, one day you're gonna become very, very powerful. And just like that, Hashirama's soul was finally dispelled from the shinobi world, as Orochimaru looked towards all of his reanimations, which were destroyed by a single kid, as Orochimaru could not believe his eyes, as Orochimaru screamed, Naruto, as he lunges towards Naruto, as Orochimaru believed that after the battle against almost 10 cage level shinobi, Naruto chakra would be exhausted, and this is the perfect opportunity. Even if he's not able to capture Naruto alive, he can still plant his curse mark. But Naruto scoffed at it, as Naruto made a gigantic Rasengan, which started to get bigger and bigger. gigantic Rasengan, and just like that, Naruto released the technique towards Orochimaru, who was taken aback at that. But Orochimaru was still Orochimaru as he quickly decided to escape from there. As Naruto closes his eyes and started to sense the location of Orochimaru as the barrier was already dispelled when the first Hokage was captured by Naruto, and the Sound 4 has already dispelled the barrier and Orochimaru has already disappeared. As Naruto shook his head at that, the Sage Mode has already dispelled itself. After all, Naruto, this was just a half-baked Sage Mode not granted by the mission, so Naruto cannot use its true power. As Naruto simply sighed, looking towards the third and fourth Hokage as well as Menma who were unconscious. Naruto simply ignored them as Naruto looked towards the Shikaku, which was being attacked mercilessly by all the Konoha Jonin, but Shikaku was still a Biju and he has already caused enough damage. As Naruto clapped his hand together, wood style. World Tree emergence, and just like that, several trees appear from the ground, started to surround Shikaku. Shikaku was taken aback at that, the power of wood style, and just like that, Shikaku was suppressed mercilessly, as well as the other shinobi of other villages were also captured by Naruto using the wood style. Just when the Jonin of Sand Village has given the order for retreat. After all, Baki had realized that Kasakage was nowhere to be found, as he has realized that Orochimaru must have betrayed them. After all, the Kasakage cannot be found here. So, just when he had given the order and the Sand Shinobi were ready to run away, Naruto had captured most of them. And just like that, the so-called Konoha collapse plan has come to an end. Ambu quickly arrived in the Chunin exam stadium as they looked towards Naruto with a complicated expression on their faces. After all, in their world, there was always Menma, the prince of Konoha, but now looking towards Naruto, they had complicated expression, but none of them noticed that all of them had immense respect in their respective eyes as they grabbed Minato as well as the third Hokage, as both of them were already had chakra exhaustion as they took them away to medical ninja like Tsunade to heal both of them, while on the other hand, Gaara was also captured because of Naruto's wood style technique, as Naruto made several clones and we started to go all around Konoha to take care of other shinobis who were not captured by his wood style technique, and just like that, the invasion has come to an end, and now let us have a small time skip. In this time, Minato, who was lying on the hospital bed, finally opened his eyes. Looking around, he saw that he was in Konoha's hospital ward as Minato quickly stood up, or at least tried to, but he quickly realized that he was far too exhausted to finally stand up as he was a bit confused. But suddenly the door opened as Tsunade and Jiraiya finally stepped inside. As Minato frowned at that, Jiraiya-sensei, what is going on here? Did you defeated Orochimaru? As Jiraiya looked towards Minato with a bit of complicated expression on his face. Well, Minato, many things has happened, so let me give you an overview. And just like that, Jiraiya started to explain everything when Minato heard that Naruto was the one who had defeated not only the first Hokage but has also defeated all the other cage level shinobis that were summoned by reanimation. Minato was taken aback at that as he simply shook his head. Jiraiya sensei, it doesn't make sense. Well, I know that wood style is powerful, but still, wood style does not have sealing properties, and only a powerful seal can permanently seal it away. And even if wood style can do that, Hashirama, the first Hokage, was still there, and I believe that his strength, even at 30%, was greater than that of Naruto's own strength. As Jiraiya simply sighed while Minato, I do not know much about it. Orochimaru had laid out a perfect plan. He was able to lure me outside of Konoha using fake signs of his activations, and there he had a summoning array present where hundreds of summons were present just to keep me away from the battle. As Orochimaru was really cunning, he knew that Jiraiya would be a great threat and Jiraiya will not enter into the stadium. And if Jiraiya was outside, not for the third Hokage but for Minato, Jiraiya would have definitely tried to use his sealing arts to dispel the barrier, and that would have been troublesome. So Orochimaru finally lured Jiraiya away for his plan, but the plan still did not work, and before Tsunade could say anything, suddenly the door was opened as Ambu arrived. Lord Hokage, Lord Third has also woken up, and a Jonin Council has been summoned. When Minato heard that, he frowned at that who summoned the Jonin Council, as the Ambu was, you can say, a bit surprised, but decided to speak. Well, Lord Hokage, after the invasion, the elders have summoned the Jonin Council to explain about the whole matter and to prepare for next things which are gonna happen after the invasion. As Minato thought about it but nodded nonetheless. He has already recovered enough to at least go into the Jonin Council while he still was exhausted, but this can still be arranged. And just like that, Minato was ready as small time skip. And finally, let us go to the Jonin Council. While on the other hand, Naruto was walking around the streets of Konoha, going back to his apartment and started to look around to see that there were many people watching him, as he could see awe in their eyes as well as almost worship in their eyes. It seemed that the one who was forgotten in his previous life has become a hero, while on the other hand, Naruto has complicated feelings about it. Honestly, he did not want it to become a hero or a savior. Menma was a so-called child of destiny. After that, he did still remember last time after the Sand invasion, Menma was the one who defeated Gaara, and after Minato had sealed away the first and second Hokage. Thanks to the help of third Hokage, Menma became even more famous and almost became a hero-like entity in the whole of Konoha. But in this timeline, Menma was defeated by Naruto, and he was unconscious in the whole scenario of the Sand invasion. So therefore, he was unable to participate in the Chunin in this invasion, and Gaara was defeated by Naruto along with the first Hokage as well as the other powerful shinobis that were summoned by the reanimation technique. And this time Naruto became the hero. After all, everyone saw wood style and everyone saw all those sand chonins and chonins were captured by the wood style, and how the sand monster was also defeated by the power of the wood style. And there were many legends about the power of Hashirama Senju, as everyone was looking towards Naruto as the future Hokage, as the future hero, and some of them even were talking that how Naruto was the true child of destiny. But Naruto simply ignored all of that. As Naruto closes his eye, do not go into that mindset. Naruto, this life doesn't belong to the village, this life doesn't belong to my parents, this life only belongs to myself. As Naruto finally spoke that in his heart, as Naruto opened his eyes and finally decided to use the Senshin technique to disappear from the streets of Konoha and finally arrived at his apartment. As Naruto lay down on his bed and started to think about his future. The battle against Hashirama, it was tough, while Naruto and Hashirama were almost equal in power. And Naruto dare say that if Hashirama was only using 30% of his power, he should be able to overcome him. But the problem was that Naruto cannot use the full power of the sage body because he was not developed enough. He was only 12-year old. Even with the sage body, even with the immense chakra, he cannot simply overcome the difficulties of being just a child. As Naruto simply sighed at that, but suddenly there was a knock on the door. As Naruto raised an eyebrow at that, as he arrived at the door to see that an Ambu was waiting there. Lord Naruto, you have been summoned in the Jonin Council by the elders. As Naruto raised an eyebrow at that, elders, he know about something about the Elder Council, but honestly, he did not care much about it, but simply nodded at that. After all, the invasion of the village has just ended, and Naruto will most likely be promoted to a Chunin, as Naruto thought in his mind, and decided to go back inside to prepare for the so-called Jonin Council. As Naruto finally arrived at the Jonin Council, while on the other hand, Minato as well as the third Hokage were already ready, even though both of them were exhausted, but thanks to the healing of Tsunade, they were more than ready to take part in the Jonin Council. And just like that, Minato as well as the third Hokage finally arrived. As Minato looked around to see that all the Jonins as well as the clan heads were present in the Jonin Council, as Minato decided to take his seat as well as the third Hokage and elders finally arrived. As Minato looked towards the elders, you guys summoned the Jonin Council without my approval. As the elders simply looked away, Minato, you were unconscious, and in your unconsciousness the power should fall to the third Hokage, but you know that he was also unconscious, so we have to make sure that the village know that the government of village has not fallen just yet. As Minato gritted his teeth at that, while on the other hand, Danzo Shimura finally arrived to the Jonin Council and finally decided to take his seat. As the third Hokage looked towards his old friends, realizing that they were about to cause trouble, but there was little he could do about the whole situation. As Minato finally spoke up, alright, let us begin the Jonin Council. And just like that, the Jonin started to talk and started to question the leadership of Konoha. As one of the clan heads finally spoke up, Lord Hokage, I would like to ask you a question. As Minato looked towards this clan head, as he frowned at that, he realized that this particular clan head was quite close to Danzo Shimura. Third Hokage also realized the situation as he looked towards Danzo, who was still sitting there as Minato looked towards him. What is this question of yours? As the clan head looked towards Minato, if I'm not mistaken, Lord Jiraiya is responsible for information gathering, and if we are not mistaken, that a huge part of the budget went to the spy network of Jiraiya-sama, but Jiraiya-sama was unable to find any information about this whole ordeal, about the Sand invasion, how our own allies has betrayed us, and not only that, they were able to bring a army in Konoha and able to caught all of us off guard. And they were able to catch all of us on guard. As Minato was taken aback at that, even Third Hokage cursed under his breath. After all, this question was poisonous. No matter what Minato said, it was a dereliction of duty by Minato as well as Jiraiya. Even Jiraiya was implicated in the whole situation, as Danzo almost had a smirk on his face, but it disappeared at the same time. As Minato closes his eye, at that, the situation is rather complicated. Orochimaru of the Sanin was involved in this whole ordeal, and from the information we have got, that it seemed that Orochimaru was able to trick the Sand Village. He has even killed the fourth Kazekage of Sand, and he was able to manipulate the situation. And our spies were unable to find the information because Orochimaru was able to figure out which one of them were the spies of Jiraiya-sama. As the Jonin head was about to say something, but Minato gave him a look that if he dare to say anything else, the things will get complicated for his clan. As the clan head looked towards Danzo and finally decided to take his seat, as there were several questions for Minato. As Minato answered all of them, finally Koharu speak out. Well, since that matter is settled, now let us go to the next agenda. This happened in the Chunin exam, but this does show us a particular talent in Konoha. I would like to recommend Uzumaki Naruto, the Janin, who has awoken the power of the first Hokage. Would you step forward, Uzumaki Naruto? As Naruto, realizing that things are gonna get complicated, finally step forward as he looked towards the Jonins as well as the elders, as all the Jonins look towards Naruto in awe. They have heard about the so-called legend of the Child of Destiny as well as the so-called hero and prince of Konoha, but they were all Jonins, not mindless fools, so they realized that most of it was mainly agenda, so they did not pay too much attention to it. But Naruto, this was a true powerhouse. They have seen the battles inside of the barrier, they have seen that how fourth Hokage as well as the third Hokage were unconscious, and only Naruto was present there. Some of them had even tried to destroy the barrier, so the news has already spread of the strength of Naruto, even though there were still people who did not believe it. After all, that was the first and second Hokage, the powerful shinobi like Sakumo, Hatake, and Kato Dan. So they did not believe that Naruto would be able to defeat all of them, but it was true that Naruto has the power of the Mokidan. As Koharu simply smiled at that. Well, Naruto Uzumaki, you have truly shown true strength in this Chunin exam, and I would like to recommend Naruto as a Jonin of Konoha. When everyone heard that, they were taken aback at that. Most of the Jonins looked towards each other, even though they wanted to say something, but looking at Naruto, even if Naruto has not defeated the other cage level shinobi, it is true that not only Naruto has fought against the Hashirama Senju, and he was able to drive away Orochimaru. These are realities, even if by dumb luck Orochimaru lost control of the technique and the technique got dispelled itself, and Orochimaru was beaten because of it, but Orochimaru was still one of the Sanin and Naruto was able to drive it away, so that alone qualified Naruto for a Jonin, as Naruto was also quite surprised about it, as Naruto did not say anything. As Minato frowned at that, he wanted to say something that he should be the one promoting Naruto, but looking at all the Jonins who seemed to be in agreement, as Minato cursed under his breath but decided to agree to that. Even Third Hokage nodded his head, as Hamura simply nodded at that. Well, Naruto Uzumaki, by the approval of this Jonin Council and the approval of Hokage and the Elder Council, you are hereby promoted as a Jonin. As Naruto was quite surprised about the situation, but he's not gonna say that he is not gonna take the position of Jonin or anything like that. After all, Naruto believed that he has earned it. So finally, one of the Ambu finally brought the Jonin vest and gave it to Naruto, who finally decided to put it on, as Naruto simply had a small smile on his face. But before anyone can say anything, Danzo finally decided to step inside. Well, Uzumaki Naruto, I believe that your strength has qualified you, so I would like to bring you into the most elite department in Konoha. From this day forward, you shall join Root When everyone heard that, they were taken aback at that as Koharu speak up. The strength of Root is obvious to all. I believe that your strength make you qualify to enter into the Root division. This is one of the most elite level of Ambu, and this is an opportunity for you, Uzumaki Naruto. So you should agree to it. As Hamura simply nodded at that, third Hokage and Minato realized that this was the plan of Danzo and the elders, as some of the clan heads also nodded at that and started to urge Naruto, as Naruto's eyes narrowed at that. He knows about the root organization, how it was destroyed. Later on, when Shimura Danzo attacked the Uchiha clan with his root division but was destroyed by the third Hokage, as well as Minato and Fugaku Uchiha. So he knew about the root division as Naruto simply looked towards these people as Naruto finally decided to speak for the very first time since he entered into the Jonin Council. While I am proud to be nominated for such a position, but I believe that my experience is not enough, so I would like to decline the offer of elders to join the root division, and I believe that as a Jonin, I would require a lot of experience, so I would like to remain as a mission shinobi. When Danzo heard that, he gritted his teeth at that as a sharp glint appeared in his eyes. Uzumaki Naruto, since you have awoken the power of the first Hokage, this power comes with responsibility. You are a symbol for Konoha. You need to work even harder so that you can be worthy of the power of the first Hokage. As Danzo was speaking as if Danzo was the one who granted Naruto the power of Mokitan, as Naruto's eyes narrowed at that. As Koharu speak up, Uzumaki Naruto, this is an honor for you. So are you disobeying? Are you disobeying the orders of the Elder Council, and do you not want to contribute to Konoha? As Naruto looked towards these people who have obvious greed in their eyes, Naruto can already figure out the moment he entered into the root division, the elders most likely want to create an army of wood style, and he, just a genin of 12 years, just promoted to a jonin, would not be able to resist them. As Naruto looked towards her, since we are talking about contributions, then forgive me, in this invasion of Sand Village, I have shown plenty contribution. The moment the Jonin started to run, it was only because of the Moketon that I summoned that I was able to capture all those Jonins and Chunins, and now Konoha have bargaining chips against the other villages. I believe that I have shown my loyalty and contribution to the village. As for the Soka Root Division, forgive me for saying this, my sensory range has already covered the entirety of Konoha in the battle, and I must say that I wasn't able to find any of the root Ambu in this whole invasion. They were nowhere to be found other than that deep underground base in the outskirts of Konoha. When everyone heard that, they were taken aback at that, especially Danzo, who gritted his teeth at that. Do not spread rumors, Uzumaki Naruto. My root division was helping and taking down the leadership of the Sand Village, as Naruto simply scoffed at that. While the other Jonin started to look towards each other, they were also taking part in the whole battle against the Sand Shinobi, so they also realized that they have not seen any of the so-called root. As Koharu speak of, enough, Uzumaki Naruto, this is the order and you must join the root division. As Naruto scoffed at it, forgive me for saying this, Elder, you have already promoted me to a Jonin, so are you saying that you can even order and forcefully take away a Jonin of Konoha and put him in a department where he doesn't want to join? And if I'm not mistaken, this root division is the one where they place seals upon you to ensure your loyalty. As Koharu was about to say, yes, that they can force even a Jonin to enter into a root division by sheer order and power of their authority. But before she can say anything, Tadokage, realizing that this was a poisonous question, if answered anyway, things will get complicated. And Tadokage slammed his fist into the table. Enough, Koharu, you have spoken enough. As Tadokage was glaring towards his old teammate, as Koharu was taken aback at that, but she also realized that what she was about to say, she was gonna say, yes, they have the authority to even forcefully take away a Jonin of Konoha and make him join the Root or Ambu division. As she looked around to see that all the Jonins has also realized that, ever as they were glaring daggers at these elders. After all, do not underestimate the authority and power of a Jonin in Konoha or any of the major villages. A Jonin can even become a leader for a minor village. So you can think of the power and authority of Jonins in Konoha. They were not like normal shinobis, they are like partners in Konoha, and to say that they can forcefully take away a Jonin and do whatever they want with him is far out of line for even for Hokage to do, as Minato also realized that situation is getting complicated, finally spoke up. Enough Danzo. Since Naruto has declined, you do not have authority to take him away. As for Naruto, congratulations for being promoted to a Jonin. For now, you can take your place among your fellow Jonins, as Naruto simply nodded and finally decided to take his seat, while some of the people present here were aligned to the faction of Danzo and the Elder Council, but most of the people were quite admiring towards Naruto. After all, third Hokage and fourth Hokage in their tenure has really worked hard to promote the civilian Jonin so that they can weaken the power of the clans. So therefore, there were several civilian Jonins present here, and they were pretty impressed with the power and potential Naruto has shown. So they were aligned with Naruto's faction, as Naruto has also realized that, and a new idea has finally come to Naruto's mind. Maybe it is time that Naruto decide for his future. As well as Naruto started to think about it while the Jonin council went on. But hey guys, I'm gonna end this part here, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. For the next part, the like goal is gonna be 100 likes and 20 comments. Do that and I shall upload the next part as soon as possible. And yeah guys, I would like to tell you guys about my other channel by the name of Air Ultra Goku, on which I upload videos related to Dragon Ball series. So if you guys like to watch Dragon Ball as well, so you can pay a visit to my Dragon Ball channel as well. So yeah guys, see you soon. Peace.